Hello and welcome to the fifth and final episode in the wildlife series. We are going to be looking at mammals. We're going to look at both land and aquatic mammals, specifically looking at ones you're most likely to see in the UK. Going to look at how you can help them, and we're also going to look at where you can see them in the UK, as especially for aquatic mammals such as whales and dolphins, they can only be found in certain areas of the UK. We're also going to have crafts at the end as usual. In this section we're going to be looking at the land mammals of the UK. We're going to be covering mostly the ones that are at risk, such as the red squirrel, but we will be looking at what the issue of too big a population of an animal causes. And we're going to have an identification game. The first animal we're looking at in this section is the red squirrel. The red squirrel is the native species in the UK, and once there was approximately 3.5 million in the UK. Unfortunately now it's in the 100,000s only, which seems a lot but comparatively isn't. This is mostly due to human activities. A lot of the issues started in the 1870s when the grey squirrel, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen rather than the red squirrel, was introduced from the Americas. Unfortunately, when it was introduced, the grey squirrel carry a disease called squirrel pox, and unfortunately the red squirrels aren't able to contract it the same way as the grey squirrels, and while the grey squirrels tend not to be affected, the red squirrels unfortunately often die. The other key factor in the decline of the red squirrel is the habitat fragmentation and loss. They live in coniferous forests and rely on them for all of their activities. They eat a lot of pine cones, hazelnuts, acorns, and these are found in the woodlands there, but due to clearing for plantations or farmland or cities, this has been lost and the spaces between limit how much they can travel. Red squirrels are now almost exclusively found in Scotland. If you want to help the red squirrel, the best thing you can do is to not feed grey squirrels. By stopping feeding them, you will be reducing their population as they will have less to eat. The other way is if you have squirrels and only red squirrels, you can leave out food such as hazelnuts, acorns if you have them, sunflower seeds and fruit for the red squirrel. The next animal we're going to be looking at are the species of deer in the UK. There are 6 species, but only 2 are native. The 2 native species are red deer and roe deer. And in the UK, we have the highest population there has been in over 1,000 years currently of both species. This sounds like it's a really good thing, but unfortunately, when the population of a species gets too big, it can actually cause a lot of environmental problems. In the case of the deer, they overgraze as herbivores on the grasslands and young saplings and bushes, and it stops the regrowth and the spread of woodlands and plants, and also disrupts the soil with their large hoofs, and when they're in big herds it breaks up and turns up the soils. The further on from them is the fact that they don't have any natural predators anymore in the UK, and this means that the species are ever breeding, but there is no decline from natural sources, which would be made balanced. There's no natural sources of predation which would help maintain their species population. We've got activity just coming up, and there's some warning before the answers come up, so you can go back and pause. In this section we're going to cover what a cetacean is. We're also going to look at the UK species that you can see, and we're going to cover some mammal species that do not live full time in the water, although spend a lot of time in it. I'm going to briefly cover what a cetacean is. It sounds like a big word, but it's not a hard one. A cetacean is a marine mammal, meaning they live in the sea or the ocean, and they are either a whale, a dolphin, or a porpoise. We're going to cover some of the species in the UK now that you can find, although the species you see will vary depending on the time of year and your location in the UK. The common dolphin, the minke whale, harbour porpoise, and orca/killer whale are the four common species you'll see, although there are multiple other ones. I've included some links on where you can read more about them and see the other species. You're most likely to see them if you're travelling on a boat or a ferry, although it is possible sometimes to see them from the shore. The minke whale and the harbour porpoise are probably the ones you're most likely to see, and the best way to identify these species is not only from their colour and appearance, but by their fin. The harbour porpoise has a small, very more triangular shaped fin, while the minke whales is further down on their back, as you can see in the photo, and is more curved. And the orca has a very tall fin, and their markings are very identifiable with the black and white. Aquatic species in the UK include water voles, otters, beavers which have been reintroduced to the UK after they were unfortunately made extinct, and seals which all rely heavily on water, and in the case of many of them, they spend most of their life in water. Out of these species, you're probably most likely to see seals. There are two species in the UK, and you can see them both when they're on shore for breeding, where they have their pups on land, or you can see them often on boats, and they'll pop their head up at the harbour, and some of them are very friendly and will want to come and say hello. But just make sure not to feed them. This last part is just going to be some ideas for activities you can do, and if you've enjoyed these videos, where you can find more activities and crafts to do. The first activity is how to make your own hedgehog house. I've got some pictures coming up now, and I've included a bunch of links for you to explore and find out new ways to help wildlife in your garden. I've also got some great craft activities like how to make your own hedgehog. Here are some great examples of hedgehog houses, including a quick diagram on how it should look so that it's safe for a hedgehog to hibernate over winter. The last one is actually one that was bought. They can be found on the RSPB website, as well as I believe Amazon and eBay. But you can make one all by yourself for free. The links in the video are to other crafts and activities you can try that are related to wildlife. If you're going somewhere, maybe take a plastic bag so you can do your own litter pick, and you can also reuse that litter to make crafts such as a wind chime. That is the end of the wildlife series now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've learnt some really interesting things about the wildlife in the UK and how you can help them.